Just want to make sure. How are things going over at CHS?
Good. Well, we are working from home mostly,
Yeah.
because given the times we're living in, but we're doing great. Kind of slow, when the pandemic first started because everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, what are we doing? How can we do this?" So a lot of things kind of slowed down, but once we really um just took a step back and thought about what is the best way to deliver these services because it's essential to the community we serve. Everyone's like on board with it.
Mm-hmm. That's good. I mean, that's like everyone, I think.
Hi,
You have to be a little flexible. Hey, Nicholas, you joined. Great.
Happy birthday, Nick.
thank you very much.
Today's your birthday. Wow, that's awesome.
Yes, and he's very dedicated. See, he's working on his birthday.
It's amazing. Any good plans?
No, just hang out. We'll get some takeout or something, and then I'll put a movie on. Maybe rent something with my red box now. The lovely gift, our lovely holiday gift. And I actually already popped some of the popcorn last night when we watched something. So I was very appreciative of that tequila.
Okay, good. You should have a something in your email too. So check your spam if you don't see anything.
Awesome.
Very much
And I think there was one
lovely
other person that from your team that wanted to join.
Really?
Or was it the two of you?
It was just
I
the two
think
of
it's
us.
just us.
Okay. And then Cate Steel, my mom was maybe going to join.
I see Cap. Yeah, I see someone there.
Yeah. So I guess give that another minute. And then Nicholas, you're okay with us recording, streaming online?
Yeah, so I've got QuickTime open on mine too, recording right now. So
Okay, perfect. Yeah, just because the quality on Zoom, if we try and do photo editing later on, it's not the best. So we just try and add another layer of that.
makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so 1 second here. I guess there's some technical difficulties. Can't start the video.
Actually, I do want to just make so I have QuickTime open and I'm recording, but do I have to do anything to connect it to Zoom itself, or do you want is it just for like the audio and stuff?
You just do the screen actually. If you go up to QuickTime, then you do new movie recording. And then if you just right click on there and you say maximum quality, then you can just start it just like that.
Okay, I wasn't sure because it'll probably just end up recording just me then because it's on my camera.
Exactly. Then we can kind of take that, then we can do the different photo editing and stuff like that. So if it's okay with you guys, we'll start right now.
Okay.
Perfect. So Takima, Nick, thanks so much for being on Stories Worth Telling today, even on Nick's birthday, kind of a special time. My name's Irving Steele, and really happy to have the two of you here. If you don't mind starting, Takima, just with a quick introduction of yourself and kind of what some of the things are that you're working on.
Great. So thank you so much for having us today and giving us the opportunity to talk about our organization, Cause, and the programs that we deliver. So my name is Takima Robinson, and I am the Director of Asset Building Programs with the Connecticut Association for Human Services, Cause for short. I've been with Cause for about 2 years now. However, I've always been connected with Cause through their VITA program, the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. And we'll talk more about that later. But again, thank you for having us.
Perfect. Great. And Nick, how about you?
Hi, so I'm Nick Brundage. I am the volunteer coordinator for the Cate Money School. And what we've got going on is just getting ready for the new year. We're going to hit the ground really running. We have really kind of ironed out all the kinks of doing virtual stuff. So we'll be ready for the first, hopefully only the first, handful of months of 2021. And then we'll be back in person. We do a lot of events with community organizations throughout the state. So I'm excited to finally get out and meet some more folks.
Awesome. That sounds great. And one of the things that really struck me about the mission and the work behind Cause is the goal to help people out of poverty to have that financial freedom and that financial literacy to live the life that they wanted. And maybe Takima, if you want to share a little bit more on some of those thoughts.
Yes, so COS has been at the center of the fight to eliminate poverty in Connecticut for over 100 years. So we kind of know a little bit about what we're doing, right? And we have always sought to empower and equip families with the tools and resources needed to become financially secure. And we do this by promoting programs and advocating for policy that enable people to be financially successful.
Mm-hmm.
And in our programs, we have 6 different programs that do just that. So we have the Viaduct Program, which is our flagship program, and Viaduct provides free tax services to the low to moderate income population. We also have a program called Bank On, and it's not a bank, and we don't give out money, but Bank On connects the underbanked and unbanked to safe and affordable bank accounts. And then we have our Connecticut Money School, and Nick will talk more about that, but the Connecticut Money School provides free financial capability workshops, and also the financial coaching program. So that is a one-on-one program. It provides financial coaching one-on-one to individuals. And we also have our financial navigator program. And this is something new that we have partnered with the city of Hartford to provide financial resources to people who have been impacted by COVID. And another program that we have is in New Haven. It's the New Haven Financial Empowerment Center. And that entails, we have financial counselors who actually went through a rigorous training to be certified to provide financial counseling to the residents of New Haven. So all these programs separately are great, but when you put them in tandem with one another, it increases a family and individual success, financial success.
Perfect. Thank you. And we're just joined by Cate Steel. She was the former candidate for State House in Connecticut, and she's on the Board of Education in East Lyme Public Schools.
Hi, Kate.
So welcome.
Takima, am I saying it correctly?
Yes, you are. Thank you.
Okay, Takima, glad to meet you. And Nicholas, Nick, happy birthday, I hear. So
Thank you very much.
yeah.
Awesome. And you mentioned a little bit, Takima, about the impact of COVID and everything like that. And one of the most inspiring things that we've seen in the community are the organizations, the government organizations, companies who have been able to kind of flip on a dime and thrive during this COVID time to provide their services, maybe even in a better manner.
Yes.
Do you have anything to elaborate kind of on that, what you've been able to do?
Yes. Yeah. This year has been far from ordinary, right? But what COVID has taught us is to adjust to change. And that's what we've done. And so in the beginning, for example, when COVID first hit, we were in the middle of tax season. So COS manages over 50 VITA sites throughout Connecticut. And when COVID hit, we had to shut down our in-person VITA sites. But as I said, we were at the prime of tax season. And so we knew that we could not eliminate the program or just shut the program down because there were too many people out there that still needed our services.
Mm-hmm.
So what we were able to do with the help of our very committed and dedicated volunteers was to provide the service online. So we were able to come up with a safe and secure encrypted online service to provide the same free tax preparation that we would do in person, but we did it virtually. And then in addition to that, with our financial workshops and our coaching, we were able to move all of that online as well.
Mm-hmm. That's great. I'm not an expert in the area for earn income tax credit and things like that. But my understanding is providing the services and the help needed for people to file their income taxes oftentimes provides a lot more benefit to them personally, to the community, and the state at large.
Absolutely. And then also with COVID, that the CARES Act was passed. So the economic impact payments were available, right? EIP stimulus payments. So we were able to also assist people with that too online. So that was great, and also provide them with assistance with the pandemic unemployment. So for people who lost their job due to COVID, we were able to help them with that as well.
Takima, can you help me catch up a little bit? Perhaps I missed a little bit of the conversation. My mouse froze when I first logged on. So I was hearing you and meeting you, but then I had to log off and then log back on. So I kind of don't have some of the background. I'm just wondering, who do you service? I know that you service New London or New Haven and Hartford, but like what groups, how do you reach out to them? Who is the population that you're basically looking for, I guess?
Okay, so we serve the LMI community, low to moderate income community, right? So
Okay.
those who are living in poverty. For our Vital program, we have over 50 sites throughout Connecticut, within 5 different counties. So although we are located in Hartford, COS services are statewide. So New Haven County, Middlesex, New London County, Waterbury, Fairfield County. We're all throughout those.
You're ubiquitous. You're everywhere. So you're super men and super women. I'm hearing that loud and clearly. So, but I'm just wondering, how does it start? Because my opponent, when I was running for state rep for 37th district, opposed minimum wage, opposed family medical leave, opposed, what I think are just some of the basic things that a person needs. And I worked on a job selling clothes, and it was at the casino, and they would have you up until 1 o'clock in the morning, shutting down the store, and then back on the floor again by 10 o'clock in the morning or 9 in the morning, expecting you to be all dolled up and ready to go with the, sales signs all up and all that. So, and, the shifts are crazy, and, and that was minimum wage. So talk to me a little bit about what it's like, because I really feel like we underserve some of the hardest working people in our population, in our communities. And what can we do for them? What can we do?
Exactly. So right now, our policy director, our policy department is fast at work with a great agenda to address all of that, right? So our policy director works closely with different committees out at the state to promote and advocate for policies to eliminate poverty. And they're working on various issues like universal child care,
Yep.
to also reducing benefit cliffs. And so
Reduce, what was the second thing?
benefit cliffs. So how people are working. We have the low income people that are working. They might get a raise, which is great. But as soon as they get a raise, what happens? There's a benefit that they're not eligible for anymore. It could be Medicare, it could be SNAP. So how is someone supposed to get ahead?
They can't.
Exactly. And that's what our policy program comes in to.
And who is this person?
So our policy director is Liz Frazier. I did invite her. Unfortunately, she's working on the policy. So
Well, God bless her, because she's got one tough job, and if she ever needs any support or anything we can do to help her on her way, please let us know what we can do to be of benefit or resource to her.
Wonderful. Yes, I definitely will.
And Takima, you touched a little bit of the Connecticut Money School, and don't want to leave Nick out of the conversation. I love receiving your emails, reaching out for volunteers and engage people in that work. Do you want to provide a little introduction to the Connecticut Money School?
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that I find most interesting about the Money School is, while we are our sort of own separate part of CAUSE, there's synergy with everything. So, we'll start talking about classes, investing in yourself, and then you'll talk to someone in the class and they'll mention about, how it's tough for them to get a bank account, and then we'll, talk about Bank On, or, now everyone's thinking about taxes since it's right around the corner. So we get to talk about Vida Online. And also another great part of the money school is I get to learn myself. You know what I mean? Starting at this job, I knew the basics. I knew how to start my savings account, and I could write a check. I'm not sure if I could balance my check, but now I'm getting to learn all these things about different sort of financing, investing in yourself, and stuff like that. So, I think it's it's mutually beneficial for not just for me, but for the volunteers and the people that are joining the classes, because they get to see what's happening with these individuals' lives and sort of how they should maybe adjust their businesses or their investment practices. So it's really holistic approach, and I find that very rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even, following up, Nick, with what you've just said, and I'm just thinking, if you have a service that you subscribe to, and if you decide that you no longer want to have that service, I don't want to put any service on the line and talk about it out loud. But if you don't like that service and say, oh, I don't want to pay $18 a month, and you call up and say, oh, that's too much money, and then they'll say, well, we have a deal going and it's $10 a month. Oh, I don't want to pay $10 a month. And before you know it, you've gotten it for 30% of what you were paying for it previously. But you have to be able to be, I don't know, pugnacious enough or determined enough to say, I don't want to pay that, yeah, I can go without it, and not just say, oh, that $20 a month, that's worth it. Always, I guess, be willing, to some extent, to negotiate some of that.
Yeah,
And
that's sort of, that's one of our big things when we talk about a lot of stuff is saving and learning how to shop around a little bit. And what we're trying to do is really put skills in people's hands so they can make actions and make choices using those skills in the future. So I think that, we want to help build up folks' confidence, because, it's first off, we have to build a comfortable environment for people to talk about their finances, which, it's an uncomfortable topic for a lot of people to talk about. So making it comfortable for people to talk about everything, and then giving them the skills that they're able to actually use in real world situations.
Sounds like a wonderful class. And it sounds like something that you could even start doing. I don't know how young you go, but even some high school kids, I don't know, young graduates from high school. It's a living skill, right? It's not just.
Yeah. One of the classes that we did last week was education beyond high school. So helping teach kids about filling out their FAFSA, making sure that they fill it out as early as possible, giving them, trying to give them the skills and confidence to go and talk to the folks in the financial aid office and stuff like that. And just sort of giving them a roadmap to use when navigating these different, institutions.
Exactly. And Nick, do you want to talk about the Youth Money School?
Yeah, so exactly. So the CT Youth Money School is focused on younger individuals throughout the state, and we have different classes set up for them to learn even more basics of, the initial banking, and then beyond high school, and really also doing the research when you are leaving high school and looking for, your future education, and learning that, while you might get grants and a bunch of stuff that covers your tuition, you'll still might get a letter in the mail offering you a student loan from somewhere. We, try to tell them that, you want to know what you need and only take what you need. So it's very important to build these skills at a young age so that they're able to, start early.
And what about housing? Because I always think housing can be a big barrier. They say that wealth is accumulated by owning property. And if your parents have owned a property, then you're more likely to own a property and you inherit that property, that kind of thing. Is there anything to be of assistance for first-time homeowners? And I know that's a silly question now that I've said it, but how do we get people to start thinking about buying and not renting and having that, I don't know, $2,000 a month basically go down the drain?
Well, our modules go from, building financial values all the way up to, we have home buying tips and investing in yourself that are beyond actual building portfolios. And we do have a specific module for home ownership.
Nice, really
Mm-hmm.
nice.
And I love the aspect that you talked about, Nick, a little bit, how much you and other volunteers gain out of the experience. That one of the best ways to learn, obviously, is to teach. And so if you're involved in this process, you build those connections and you build that network of different people to raise each other up.
yeah, it's not a one-way street, which I think is very beautiful about the program. You know, it's a give and take, and you get to learn about different people's situations, backgrounds, all sorts of stuff.
Mm-hmm. One issue that we heard a lot about over the last 9 months or so, reaching out to a lot of people in the community, were a lot of people in their 20s and 30s throughout southeastern Connecticut and around Connecticut in general who would love to be in this beautiful state in between Boston and New York. However, just a lack of job opportunities that are meaningful enough and pay them enough to live in the area. What do you think about that, and how can we encourage better job creation throughout Connecticut for this cohort of people?
Well, you know, I think that's another part that we can work on with our policy team and becoming, you know, more engaged with different communities around the state and sort of learning the different needs for those individuals. Because that's the first step to fixing any problem is really understanding the issues. And that's, you know, that was a situation that I was, you know, in basically before, you know, literally a month ago now, when I was lucky enough to find my friends at Cause here. So I, you know, I understand the situation of loving the state and wanting to stay here and having your family here. But I mean, you know, obviously COVID has slashed a bunch of jobs. So the markets, you know, there's, you know, more people for every job opening now than there ever has been, it seems like. So it's just something, another thing that we have to work with the policy team once the LOB, which is actually right down the street here from me here in Hartford, to get them to listen to us, really.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. We should invest in our people, invest in people.
I love that. I love that. Is there any way to do public-private partnerships where you have private entities that are doing quite well, like young entrepreneurs who have really been successful and are happy to share some of their wealth, whether they have internships and opportunities? Yes, I see a big smile and nod from Takima.
Yeah, so Nick, talk a little more about your role as the volunteer coordinator and what that entails.
Exactly. So I am a volunteer coordinator. We try to recruit exactly what you're, you know, the individual you're speaking of, someone who's been doing well, who's learned a lot. And we try to put out those opportunities all over Lyme. We have, you know, ads on from LinkedIn to all different social medias, trying to get a diverse group of entrepreneurs and business leaders into these groups, because that's the key is we need a solid knowledge base for the people who are coming to our trainings. So that, I mean, this is a great opportunity to get the name out there, and hopefully, you know, we find a couple more people to come into our volunteer training. I actually did my first volunteer training last night, and it was wonderful getting to meet everyone. And that's another thing where you meet people from different backgrounds who have different expertise in different things. You know, some of them were there for just for Vita. Some of them were there getting ready for financial coaching. So that's the main portion of my job, is getting the word out there that we need those people and those skills so we can get those skills into the people's hands.
Are you associated with SCORE as well? Is that Southeastern Connecticut? And I'm not sure what the rest of the acronym stands for, but I thought it was perhaps a chamber. You're smiling, so I think you know.
No, SCORE.
I think it's SCORE, Southeastern Connecticut, and I'm thinking it might be associated with the Chamber of Commerce, and it's retired businessmen and women who were were successful, highly successful, maybe CEOs, CEFs in their previous positions, and then they do mentoring, same kind of thing, but outside. But maybe that would be a good connection for you as well. I'm not sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I saw on your webpage too, is that it seems like you do try and establish these connections and partnerships with other nonprofits or for-profit companies to build on that. And another thing I saw mentioned, Nick, you said just down the street is the LOB and the importance of policy and everything that we do. Kind of wondering a little bit more, who are some of the legislators that you're working with, and what are some of the policy initiatives potentially you're trying to push forward?
So our policy director works closely with Senator Moore, Matt Lester, but also mostly with committees, right? So the Appropriations Committee and the Human Service Committee. And some of the policy agenda includes universal child care, the also reducing cliff benefits, increasing the EIT state, EITC credit. So earned income tax credit, you know, it's a credit based on earned wages, right? And it's available mainly to the low income. So we have a federal EITC and then we have a state EITC. And COS was very instrumental in getting the state EITC passed. And so at first it was 30%, and now it's at 23%. So our policy team is working to get that back up, as well as increasing not increasing the child tax credit, but promoting for a state child tax credit. So that's one of the agendas on the policy, one of the policies that's on the agenda as well. And also increasing the 21-month limit for TANF. So right now there's a 21-month limit. So they want to increase it, but also when people are on TANF and they get a job, let's say they get a job and then their benefits are then decreased. So one of the policies is to actually allow those people who receive maybe a full-time job and would not be eligible for benefits anymore, actually have them on for at least 6 months after. So not just cut them off right away. So because by doing this, it will allow them to build a savings, to be financially, successful in that way, not just cut them off. So that's just some of the things that our policy agenda entails.
Nice. That's very nice. I love that. And it makes such a difference if you have that level of security, I think, going into positions.
Exactly.
Mhm.
I had a very interesting conversation with our policy director, because when she sent me her agenda, I said, wow, this is crazy. I talked about this 20 years ago. 20 years ago, and we're still here. We're still dealing with the same issues.
Well, Takima, you were talking about this when you were just a baby. That's really,
oh my gosh, thank you.
like, you were very precocious. I just have to tell you, like.
Oh, you're making me blush.
Oh, so I know, and it's just so sad, kind of what speed we change at, or at what ability we have to accept a new way or a new policy and a new path. And but we have to continue and join forces, I think, and put the word out there, and little things for me, like I did not grow up in the lap of luxury. I was the second youngest of 9. My mom was a widow, and we basically grew up on Social Security benefits from my father having died, and my mom was a teacher. So, ate a lot of oatmeal kind of thing, but also learned to eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and to be happy with that, and to pack my lunch and to be happy with an oatmeal for breakfast and that kind of thing. And I think, if you do the money on that over time, if you figure that you spend $2 or 50 cents for a meal rather than $10 for every meal, that's huge. And that, how do you get that mindset to ever even adjust at all, or do you?
Well, we try in our financial capability workshops. We touch on those things too, savings, budgeting, and we have also partnered with the and I'm going to get this acronym wrong, so I'm not going to even try it. But we have a partnership with the Yukon Health and Nutrition Program, I think, and they talk about health and nutrition, and so now we are collaborating with them. So health and wealth.
Well, and sometimes I think that some of the healthiest meals you make can be soup and vegetables from your refrigerator, and just chopping those things up, and it's just a nice tasty meal. And and you build that wealth slowly over time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about giving people the resources, the resources and tools to empower them to become successful. And if you don't know what you don't know, right?
Exactly.
So know how to prepare a healthy meal, then they're not going to prepare a healthy meal.
Right.
So
right.
That's what we are focusing on as well.
So Nick, is part of your volunteer program for people to actually go into different homes and to help set up, post-COVID or pre-COVID, of course, to give people some of those opportunities to understand different ways, like how to make your own bread or pizza rather than always buying it from the local pizza joint?
So our program, our CT Money School, are generally classes with a bunch of individuals, but they do lead into our financial coaching, which is one-on-one financial coaching with
Mhm.
individuals, and that can drill down into many different areas. We have a sheet where folks will fill out what they feel they need in their different situations, and from there we're able to match it up with an individual who is has expertise in that type of a field. So not quite that hands-on as you were speaking, but we do try to offer this one-on-one coaching because we can match up an individual who needs to you know help starting a bank account and savings with someone who that's their expertise. So that's what we really try to work on, is matching individuals with people can help them.
Nice. That sounds great. I love the concept. I love the execution of it. I love what, the whole energy behind all of what you're doing. So kudos to you guys for doing such a beautiful job.
Definitely. And we were just wondering too, if there's other things that we might be able to do to help you all, support you, or different partnerships that you're trying to create that we could help support.
Definitely doing things like this, okay, exposure, promoting the program, and also advocating for policy and practice change. That goes a long way, definitely.
So do we have contacts in southeastern Connecticut, like New London County, that we could reach out to, or people like that? Maybe we could put a bug in somebody who works for the local newspaper, or we could help write an op-ed ourselves and get something in the paper, if that would be amenable to you, to try to move.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
We partner with various agencies. We have a partnership with the Department of Labor, DSS, DOC, the reentry programs. And right now, our Bank On program has a great partnership with the reentry programs. And this is so needed because people that are coming out, of incarceration with literally nothing and not knowing how to, you know, they have no access to the bank accounts or what have you. So we are definitely working with them as well to help people get on their feet.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, I think at least for us, at least for Irving and me, I think in southeastern Connecticut, if we could have some, if there's some framework already put into place and some groundwork already established, then that would be a place where we could perhaps lend, some ideas and resources. And are there, like Irving said, I'm on the school board for East Lyme. So we're taking a serious look at people of color, people like with racial diversity. I was on the phone last night with a Native American. I think certain populations are more heavily hit than others, and trying to equalize some of the playing field as much as possible. Are there ethnic issues, I guess, perhaps is what I'm trying to get at. Are there avenues to help certain populations of people who might be marginalized?
Definitely, there always is. Anyone who doesn't have access to affordable health care, or
Mm-hmm.
live in poverty, who maybe English is their second language. So these are people who then are you know facing barriers that, on top of being living in poverty, they have these additional barriers. So yes, we definitely want to reach out to them.
Okay.
And actually, I was going to say one of the benefits of us being online more often now is being able to spread out our ESL trainees. So I mean, if we might have some Spanish speaking volunteers in New Haven, and they would only do trainings in New Haven before, but now with everything being online, we're able to get that person all over the state. So
Nice.
there is one of the benefits of being able to do these types of Zoom meetings and stuff like
Nice.
that.
And I don't know if Irving told you, if he's being quiet, he's fluent in both French and Chinese besides English. So
Okay.
Can reach out to different communities there. And then
Definitely.
also another thing I was thinking too is that there's probably a lot of retired folks throughout the state from the different senior centers who have lots of knowledge to share, lots of financial freedom that they could provide this knowledge back to these targeted groups. That could be a wonderful experience.
Yes, and our VITA program, VITA volunteer. VITA wouldn't be VITA without the volunteers, right? And so we definitely need volunteers. And you do not have to have a background in finance. You don't have to be a CPA because all of our volunteers are certified and trained through the IRS. So we help them get trained, give them the training materials, so that they can be able to provide the service. So yes, we always are looking for different volunteers for our programs.
Well, what I'm thinking too is that I like to call it low-hanging fruit, because here you have people who maybe are lonely and they don't have the opportunity to have relationships with people and feel like their life doesn't have the meaning perhaps. And then all of a sudden, like I have a friend who's 96 years old and he wants to teach watercolor classes. So, you know, if you know somebody who would like to learn how to paint and do watercolor, he's the architect who built Town Hall in East Lyme. So, you know, so he comes with his own reputation and resume that's quite impressive, but it's that same kind of thing where if you could give somebody that opportunity to have somebody need them, that's huge.
Yeah, it's twofold. Just like Nick said, you know, our volunteers learn something, and so do the people that we serve.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I feel like I learned a lot from you all, and I appreciate what you're doing to all the citizens throughout the communities that you serve.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. This was wonderful.
Yeah,
And please share with us those contacts in, at least for me, in Southeastern Connecticut, so that I can maybe reach out. Or is that part of what you do, Nick?
Yeah, so I can get some information over to you. Definitely. We'd love to get some more partner sites, you know, open up, you know, the area for more volunteers, so we can get some information over to you. Definitely. It's a wonderful opportunity.
Okay, great. Well, we know quite a few people. So that's a win-win. So thank you so much. And happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Nick.
Thank you very much.
We will spare you the lovely experience of us singing to you.
Well, I appreciate that very much. Very nice.
All right. Well, happy Friday, happy weekend, and no more snow for a couple of days, right?
yeah, be safe and stay warm.
Oh,
Yeah.
you too. Nice to
All
meet
right,
you all.
you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.